Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Salon Scoop podcast. I am here with Sarah Perrin today. Excited to have you back with us again, Sarah.
Excited to be here.
Yes, always. We have fun on these episodes. Today, we're bringing you another Digital Debrief episode where we're going to be talking about the ultimate client experience. And not just how it is incorporated in the salon, but the reality is that the client experience today extends way beyond that and into the online world as well. And I think it's really important that you find ways to kind of blend those two together. So today we're going to talk about getting the scoop on guest experience, both in salon and online. And we could ask about why is guest experience so important? Hopefully that's a kind of a redundant and obvious question, right? But the reality is that sometimes we just go about our daily routine and we fall into our habits and we're not thinking about those little extras that go into wowing our clients. And when the clients get bored because of routine, right, that's when they start to potentially consider other alternatives. And there's other companies out there that are constantly trying to have flashy bells and whistles, right, to attract new customers. So you've got to be thinking about this at all times, not just, once every 6 weeks when they're inside your salon company, right? And if you want some quick statistics, it's pretty standard. There's tons out there, but the reality is, statistics show that consumers are way more likely to return to a company, right? If the customer service is excellent. 78% will come back if the customer service is excellent. And it's just a really, really critical component. I think we don't need to sort of get too deep into why, but let's talk about the how, right? What does it actually look like? So Sarah, you're in your salon company every single day. You see it from an owner's perspective, but also from a service provider perspective. What does, an ultimate guest experience look like in a salon company?
I think the most important thing to remember about working in a salon and everything is that to the average client or guest, it can be kind of an intimidating experience. I know myself, I have, walked into salons that I've never been to before, and it's intimidating. Everything in there is pretty. You don't necessarily know what the products are. You don't know anything about that or whatever. So I think that that's just really important to remember, is that it can be already a relatively intimidating experience for someone. So you want to go over the top even more so than somebody would in a clothing store or something like that. You want to go over the top to make sure that they're feeling comfortable and everything like that from the second that they walk through your doors. So this starts with just a great greeting. And again, very, very simple, but you'd be surprised how many places you walk into and just get, hit with nothing, not a hello, not a anything like that. So I feel like it's super important to have a consistent greeting that you have all of your team do for everybody that comes into the salon, whether it's their guest or not. So that might just be hey, how are you doing today? What can I help you with? Do you have an appointment? Can I grab your jacket? I'll hang your jacket up. And what can I grab you for a drink? Whatever it is that your standard is, just make sure that you keep it consistent and that every single person walking through your door gets that same type of greeting. So once the greeting is done, again, throughout the service, there are so many opportunities to improve the experience and everything like that. So, even just right from the top, the consultation, I feel like that part is something part of the guest experience that a lot of people overlook, or you think that you do it their first appointment or something, but that should be something that is consistent across the board every appointment. And that is the biggest thing with experience, is that it needs to be consistent. You want to create the same level of experience for your salon guests, whether they're coming to see you or whether they're going to see somebody else that works for you. You want to make sure that that experience is the same. So again, from greeting to consultation to head massage when they're having their hair washed to being offered, beverages, if that's something that you offer, every part of the experience should be a formula, essentially, to keep it nice and consistent, and so that new guests and and existing guests that have been coming back forever kind of thing, they always know what they're going to get and they always know that they're going to be happy with it. So I feel like that's just a good thing like throughout the service. And then to end the actual service in the salon, again, it's not just their experience in the salon, it's how they're able to maintain their service following their appointment. So part of the full experience, in my opinion, is retail. So that doesn't mean just selling things. That means recommend specific products that's going to make their experience good following their appointments, able to style their hair easily and recreate the look that you've created and everything. So again, making those offerings of like just to like tie the whole thing together with a little bow and everything like that. And then there's just sweet little touches, like again, like making sure that you're always offering to like rebook their next appointment. You're always offering to, send them the reminder for their next appointment. You're walking their retail purchase around to them and maybe, giving them a handshake or a hug, whatever type of vibe your salon is, right? But just making sure that that last interaction of their entire service, it just makes them leave feeling like they're walking on a cloud, right? So just again, tying it all up in a cute little bow and everything like that. And ending it with just extra, guest service thing, like, just like really making sure that that last interaction is excellent. And then on top of that, just kind of like as a follow-up, because this is a really great way to kind of segue into online experience. But one last way that you can kind of continue the experience after they've left the salon is by following up with either a text or an email or a phone call, just to see how they're doing with the service they've received, if there's any issues they're running into, if they're happy with how everything's turned out. Just that extra follow-up is going to take your salon experience to the next level, because very few places actually do commit to doing, a consistent follow-up. And again, this is where consistency comes in. You can't do this for one guest. This has to be a standard that you follow for everybody. But yeah, that follow-up is just like a great way to level up the entire experience.
Totally. So critical. I love how you tied that in there, Sarah, because, the one thing we, sort of talk about what happens after their, in-salon experience. There's so many things that we want to be able to do to kind of stay engaged with them and make sure they continue to feel, wonderful service and a wonderful experience with us, in the digital world as well. And, the first thing we might look at is actually online reviews. We might want them to write a review, right, about their experience. And the only way that someone is going to write a review is if you really kind of wow them, right? People come to your salon and they expect a good service. They expect a good experience, right? That's the level of expectation. So if you just deliver good, it's fine. They're going to be satisfied, but they're not necessarily going to be think, oh, wow, like I have to go and write a review about this. You have to go to great, right? You have to exceed their expectations on that experience. So that's where all those little things that Sarah was talking about help to make people feel that extra level where they're now going to think, wow, like, what, that was a wonderful experience. Now I feel like I should write a little review and talk about how special that experience was. So that's kind of the first element that you want to sort of bridge, right, to get people to write about their experience. Another great bridge between the in-salon world and the digital world, Sarah mentioned the importance of the whole completing the service and retail. What if you were to start shooting some, tutorial videos around product usage, right? How to use the product to maintain certain looks, and that you actually send that information to your clients so that they can, right, learn and sort of watch it and therefore feel better about the maintenance of their hair, of their skin, whatever, sort of service it is between visits. That's an extra layer of experience that you can provide that most salons are not doing today, right? So this is a way for you to help stand out from the crowd and use digital, right, to extend that experience and make them feel good about, being part of your world, being part of your salon company between visits as well, right? Let's talk about a couple of other sort of online experience elements that are super, super important. Obviously, we're going to start thinking about your website. right? And if you haven't already, we've got, again, another great podcast about websites, specifically what you should have incorporated. We've got several different blog articles about, how to optimize your website. But incorporating the user experience, right, and enhancing that experience on the website it means a couple of things. Firstly, you want to make sure that your website actually loads up quickly, right? It's a basic one, but people, that go and they're sitting and they're waiting and waiting. It takes them, 5 seconds for your website to load. Frustrates people, right? You listeners, it. It's frustrating. So if you want a great experience, you want to make sure that your website loads quickly. Then you want the information to be easy to find what I'm looking for, right? So you want to set up your menus properly. You want to have your information kind of very clear and obvious so that I can quickly find what I'm looking for, whether it's information about the team, whether it's information about your services and pricing, whether I want to go and, actually, book an appointment. Make sure that the flow of how a consumer would come to your website is very clean, very smooth, and that it doesn't take them a lot of clicks in order to get to different parts that they might be interested in, okay? Very important for the experience. And again, we talked about this in our website podcast. Having high quality images, high quality text is another component of just making a nice experience for that guest when they are browsing through your website. When it comes to social media, right, you want to kind of think a little bit about the same principles. Often we spend all of our time focusing on what content we're posting, right? Our posts, our reels, our stories. But when was the last time that you actually put some energy into refreshing your bio, your profile, right? Because that's where people are kind of go to get some of the key information. Does it say very clearly what you do, where you do it, who you do it for, and how people can actually connect with you, right? If they want to book an appointment or they want to, contact you for something, you got to make sure that your bio profile is nicely up to date. If you want a special present that we've got available for you, we've actually created a completely free Instagram bio refresh guide. If you're interested, just shoot us a quick DM on Instagram at salon.s.o.s, or you can email us info@salonsos.ca, and we'll happily send you the link to the free Instagram bio refresh to help you really sort of master your profile and set it up for success. Again, to make it easy, that's what we're talking about. You want clients to find information easily so that their experience with you just feels good, right? There's no frustrations, there's no complications, there's no friction. Really, really critical to be considering that. Another element is just sort of your online communication, right? If people want to ask you questions, maybe through your social media or through your website, is it easy for them, to find a way? Is there on your website, is there a contact box where they can send a message, or is there an easy way to kind of with a link to email? Same thing on your social media. Can they go into your messages? And if they do send you a message, number one, is there a quick response? Right? Because that's all part of my experience. If I have to wait 2 days before I get a response, that's not a good experience for me. Similarly, maybe you can utilize, we highly recommend that you do through both Facebook and Instagram, you can automate certain questions and responses so that it helps channel, commonly asked questions. And then you can have an automatic response that gives them the information they want literally instantly. That's elevating the experience. Now, sometimes there's questions that they, are not there. They're a little more specific, in which case they might, write you, and you want to have somebody either writing back quickly, or you can automate a response saying, you know what, thank you so much for your question. For the quickest response, please call us at and put your phone number. If you prefer that people call, you at least have to give them and set those expectations with them. So these are all ways that you can enhance that customer experience from a digital perspective through all the various online activities between visits, which is just as important, if not more important, because they're in your salon for, anywhere from, 45 minutes to a couple of hours every, let's say, 6 weeks on average. But they're still your guest for that entire 6-week period, right? So the more that you can engage with them and make sure that they have continual great, communication through you and a great experience of making it easy to engage with your social media, with your messaging, with your website, will enhance their overall feeling towards your company.
Yeah, no, I think that that's super important to keep in mind. And I think that social media and your website, like we look at that as, more of a marketing tool. But if you kind of look at it as more of an experience builder, it might just make it a little bit easier to kind of add what you need into there. And again, I know we've all heard this, like the whole, people will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And I think at the end of the day, that's what experience is it's just a feeling. So like how are your guests feeling when they leave your place or when they leave your website or when they leave any of these things? Like it's just, you just want to elevate that feeling, to create the absolute best experience that you can for them. So I feel like there's been a lot of really good tangible things that you can implement in Salon and online to kind of just create more of an experience. And I think for 2023, that's going to be such an important thing to set your salon apart. And it's kind of, again, we're on the verge of a recession, right? Like in hair salons and the beauty industry, it's like these are not necessities we need. So what are you going to provide that the guest is still willing to put their hard-earned money towards, right? And at the end of the day, that's going to be an excellent experience. So I think that it's something that all salon owners and all industry professionals can really focus on and improve on. So.
Well said, Sarah. Really, really important for sure. If there's something that you do in your salon company out there or as an individual, right, service provider to really enhance your guests' experience, we would love to hear it. So please, shoot us a message. We'd love to hear what you're doing, what's working, so that we can share with the entire industry. That's what we're here for. Thanks for listening to another Salon Scoop episode. And Sarah, thanks for sharing all of your insights today as well.
Of course. Thanks for having me.